Are you finally ready to experience epic love, ecstatic sex, and profound intimacy? Join me here on the Sex, Love, and Relationship podcast with myself, your host, Joanna Intara, the intimacy alchemist for the essential conversations on how to bring consciousness and deep resourcing into the heart of the messy, vulnerable complexities that partnership, love, sex, and disconnection bring up, so that you can have all that you need, deserve, and desire. These conversations cover the ground that makes this sweet intimacy truly possible, and this time do it consciously. You're in for engaging soul conversations where we dive right into the exact alchemy of heart, connection, and of course, lovemaking that make everything about how to have it simple, clear, and oh, so good. Haven't you been wanting this? Well, here it is, and here we are. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sex, Love, and Relationship podcast. I am your host, Joanna Intara, the intimacy alchemist and also relationship and trauma expert. And I'm super happy that you're here. Happy spring wherever you are in the world. I am broadcasting to you today from Bozeman, Montana, and I am super excited to share with you that it is green outside, the snow is gone, and I'm enjoying the nice, dewy water that keeps dripping down into the grass and turning all the old into something new. And so I hope the same is happening in your world, that old is turning into new and that there's good things going on. Today's topic is called You Only Won't Get Results If You Keep Chit-Chatting About Your Deep Partnership Issues. And I am so excited about this topic. As many of you know, I absolutely love the work of supporting couples and those in relationship to truly have the foundations of what it takes to have an amazing love relationship that is filled with the lovemaking, the intimacy, the connection, the care, the collaboration, cooperation, communication, and co-regulation that very often every single couple that I've ever worked with over the last, 36,000 client hours. I think I've lost track at this point. And I have such a passion for making sure that the infrastructure that is going to support you having what you desire is actually in place in the deepest part of you, deep inside your body. And so what I want to invite you to consider is, have you actually thought about what would happen if you didn't only chit-chat about your relationship issues? It's a really important question because I think over 95% of what I see in couples therapy, couples counseling, couples weekends, couples books, couples worksheets, I'm going to say couples coaching as well, 95% of it is pretty much insight. And if you don't know this already, let me surprise you with an incredibly astonishing and very impactful detail. And it's this: insight is actually been proven by science to be the weakest link to change. So that means that no matter how bright and how wonderful and how euphoric a particular intelligence, genius, or insight may be, and there's so much of that out there, as we all know, if there is not the somatic, which also means body, infrastructure, foundations to support it, it will not last. And the truth is, we all have many places in partnership that have micro to macro pockets of disconnection, chaos, conflict, stress, and overwhelm when it comes to connection, lovemaking, and intimacy. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a couple, And I've seen many, many couples where this isn't the case in some version or another. So, what I want to focus on today is just to invite you to step into a greater power, which is to have a different experience, a powerful one, of learning how to handle these issues that we all go through without the usual chit-chat, talky-talk approach that is the central focus of most counseling therapies and coaching. So I want to start with an invitation to just start to notice. If you're in couples therapy now, coaching, some kind of container, it's really important to identify when this container has become normalized as talking only about the issues, as in around in circles, and to discern where is that helpful and where you actually might need something more effective. It's really, really important because I do see that we are conditioned to kind of live from the head up. And there's a reason why they kind of made fun of therapists in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, sometimes today still, although I haven't heard it as much, as a bunch of talking heads. There's truth to the fact that that was true. I do not like practicing that way. I tried practicing that way, and I noticed that it ultimately did not help in the way that I see that my work assists now. I think the linchpin question to ask is, does it make a difference when you are talking about the issues? And when I say about to me is like the issues are here in the center, and you're kind of talking about them from the outside, kind of in a circle, and you go around them, and you go around them, and you both go around them, and you get into your, what they call in EFT world, your negative couple cycle, and you talk about them, and you talk about them. I did not notice that there was help, that was helpful for me as a client in couples therapy. And I tried many different kinds of things that were incredibly intelligent. There are some beautiful, brilliant, and intelligent minds out there. And so many of those brilliant minds, and I'm including potent spiritual teachers, leaders in the psychology industry and the coaching industry, do not do the nervous system work in a foundational way that makes it possible so that that brilliance can actually go somewhere. I noticed that in my own work, that no matter how bright and intelligent I was, and I'm including my husband in that as well, because he is incredibly talented, bright, and has his own genius and a beautiful mind as well, it did not make a dent in the places where we struggled. And so we had to really look at, this sounds wonderful, this information that we're being given, but is it actually creating a foundational change? And a foundational change really is the one that is necessary for you to have so that you can actually be able to behold, the word be as in being, and then behold the change that you desire to experience. Otherwise, from what I have seen, with the depth of trauma and intergenerational relationship imprints that we all have around love making, intimacy, connection, communication, collaboration, co-regulation, there is work for us to do, and it is so beyond the level and beneath the level of the mind, but not grounded in the body. The work has not happened on the level of the body. And this is my stake in the ground, and this is also what I'm here to lead and pioneer through the entire intimacy and relationship industry. Because otherwise, people spend and invest a lot of money in couples work. It's expensive to hire somebody who's really talented and who's really gifted. And if it's not grounded, people can end up feeling like they spent all this time, energy, and investment of money and time into something that sounded really, really good, but didn't effectively last. So, if you are a smart, passionate, powerful, potent woman or man in partnership, I want to invite you to consider that if you have not broken the cycle of your negative cycle, and every couple has a negative cycle, it's time to consider that that is not the only approach that is going to help you. It's time to consider, what have you tried? Where would you like to go? And what remains to be considered? Most likely, when couples are triggered and activated, like yourself, like I have been many times, those triggers and the activation that goes along with them, it lives in the body. It's even underneath the level of the heart and feelings, because feelings are actually made up of building blocks called sensations. If I have 5 different people in front of me and they're each telling me about hurt in their marriage, I can guarantee you that I will get 5 different descriptions of the body sensations that go along with hurt. So we have to go even underneath feelings. We have to go to sensations, and sensations are comprised of the building blocks of nerves. Nerves are the building blocks of sensations. So this is really my case and my stance, that we need something way below the level of mind, and I'm going to venture even further and say the level of heart, right into the body and nervous system, so that whatever you truly desire and require, and let's face it, any couple who goes and invests in couples work is either desiring or requiring, both are true, some version of what they desire and require to be brought into reality. That is really true. So I'm inviting you to consider, what is actually going on in my couples work? Because if you really want to have greater connection and greater happiness, you've got to do something underneath the layers of insight only and talk only. And I want to underline this with even another point, which is this. When we discover something so brilliant and so wise, we hear something amazing, our mind becomes incredibly enchanted, seduced, scintillated is the word I was looking for. When we hear that, it's like a euphoric, momentary high dopamine hit that comes from brilliant insight. It's incredible. I think it's addictive, and I've seen it be addictive in the minds of brilliant strategists, brilliant coaches, all kinds of clients. The thing, though, that I want to invite you to evaluate is this. When you have that euphoric high dopamine hit that comes from brilliant insight, the question is, can your body hold the energy of it so it can last? This is so incredibly important. Can your body hold the energy of it so that it can last? And that is absolutely an incredibly important evaluation to have in your toolbox together. Because if you are taking in, and I've definitely done this, tons of euphoric high, dopamine hit, wisdom, genius, strategy, brilliance, it's electrifying, even more so than scintillating. I think our minds become quite sizzlingly turned on and quite high from it. But the deeper question is, can your body hold it so that it can last? And the reason that I'm inviting you to evaluate whether your body can hold it so it can last is because I want you to have the brilliance of that dopamine hit, be able to be so sustainable that, yes, of course, all of its deliverance can last. That's what you want it for. You don't want to have just a momentary, brilliant insight dopamine hit. You want it to last. You want it to be worked through you and your partner, your heart, your emotions, your feelings, your moods, your negative cycle, your sensations, your nervous system. And this takes something that is sustainable. And there's nothing more sustainable than having the foundations in our bodies and in our nervous systems to, again, that word I love so much, behold that which we wish to bring forward. So I'm going to invite you to really evaluate that and see, what do you come up with? Can your body hold the energy of it? Can your body hold the sensation of that dopamine hit that comes with brilliant insight and strategy? And this is just the amazing thing. And the thing is that when you have that infrastructure, when you have the foundations in your body, what happens is that what you desire has somewhere to land in inside you and inside your partner as well, so that it can actually come true. And when there are foundations in your body and your nervous system for what you desire and require to have a chance to come true, then what happens is that the chit-chat mechanism that can go on in our mind moves from the position of becoming your master and causing trouble and the negative cycle to loop around to actually becoming your servant. And we want the mind to be a servant because the mind at best is an incredibly powerful, creative projector and focusing instrument. But we don't want that same instrument to be working from a top-down position to try to help the genius and the insight drip down into your body. We want to build a ground up foundation instead that really, really helps things come true. And we want your mind to be the servant. And the best way to do that is if the mind knows there is a greater power that is holding the foundations, that is the foundations, that is the body and the being of the foundations, then it can relax and it can be a servant. And that is a beautiful gift to behold, because that allows you as a couple to not only co-regulate with deeper foundations, but also to have your mind move from the position of being at war with each other to actually being a co-creative servant. And of course, I want this for you. And I can imagine that in all the places where you know that your mind gets each of you into trouble, or both of your minds get each of you into trouble, that you would want this instead. And the question that then comes from there is, how do we actually start listening to what is inside of our body? How do we do that? And so I'm going to give you a question that you can ask the next time you get into your negative cycle. And I always recommend that couples identify their negative cycle. And for fun, to add some levity, to give it a name. It's really fun, like One of my recent immersions, the couple decided that they both didn't like the name Gilbert and they called their negative cycle Gilbert, but I've also heard the negative cycle be called Scott and eggshells and all kinds of other things. And I think that this is really important because it adds a layer of levity. So next time you get into your negative cycle and you've teamed up, which I always recommend, to identify, oh, we're in our negative cycle, and you've named it, just start to ask each other if our bodies could talk via location, the language of sensation, movement. How would our bodies communicate about what is going on together? And this is a practice, it is a muscle, it is something that is not born overnight. So please don't expect each of you to do it immediately. But I can guarantee you and promise you that if you practice this, it will help de escalate and deactivate the intensity and the overwhelm that is in your partnership. And when you learn how to do that together, you will have much more freedom in your communication issues. You will have much more care. You will have more collaboration, cooperation. This will be co-regulating. The noise level of stress that will be turned down in your activated pockets together will be immense. So I'm going to invite you to practice that and let me know how that goes. I've never, and I say that very intentionally, not seen how this practice deeply supports and assists couples and those who are in relationship, and also those who have been through trauma, because I also work with people who've been through a lot of trauma, and as it comes out in relationship, I've never not seen this be beneficial. And this is the way to have the foundations be so strong, be so solid, be embodied, have them be able to behold that which you really desire and require together. And you'll know if you're in a mind loop when it has a mental activated quality of, say, bickering or rubber banding, which is when one person says, no, you did, no, you didn't, no, you did, no, you didn't. When there is opinions and judgments and perceptions and dogmas that have a quality, it's like if you even listen to where that discussion is coming from and identify it in the body, you'll see that most of it is kind of north of the neck into the head. And this is where the practice is so incredibly helpful. So I'm going to invite you to practice to identify. And as you start to do this work, bring resources into these places. This is where we bring presence, we bring care, we bring connection, we bring cooperation, we bring collaboration, we bring compassion. I love these C words. They are so incredibly helpful. And I think that that is the essence of what I would love to share with you today, that there's some really good practical, resourceful tools and information for you, some resources. And I know that these help because it's what I've seen over and over again help all the couples that I have been helping and have helped, and I know will continue to help. So if this moves you today, if you are new to my podcast and you've been touched by something that I've shared with you, please feel free to leave us a review. We would love to get this information into the hands of the mainstream world of talky-talky, chit-chat, coaching, counseling, therapy, and to really create a revolution of embodiment that allows couples and those who are in relationship to have the infrastructure and the foundations to actually have what you desire and require in love, lovemaking, intimacy. I believe it's your birthright, and the ripple effect of that is profound in the couple, in health, in money making, in children, the nervous system of the family, all the way out into work, society, contribution. This is why I focus on these very, very inside layers and helping us get super strong there. I invite you to connect with me further at the links below. If this work is moving for you and you can imagine how beneficial this would be to try on in your own partnership, I invite you into a call. I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm so happy that you're taking in this information, and I really wish good things for you, and do let me know how it unfolds for you personally. You can reach me at The Intimacy Alchemist on Facebook and Instagram, Joanna and Tara. .com, JOANNA, I like indigo, NTARA.com. The information to connect with me further and the URLs are right below this podcast, and I look forward to connecting with you further. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, dear listener, for joining me on the Sex, Love, and Relationship podcast with Joanna and Tara, the Intimacy Alchemists. Did today's episode help make things just a little bit simpler for you and more clear on what's next? If you're moved, I'd love for you to leave us a quick review on iTunes. And if you're ready to this time finally experience the conscious intimacy that creates soul-satisfying sex, love, and closeness that you've been desiring, then visit me at theintimacyalchemist.com or come over to our Facebook group, The Intimacy Alchemy Vortex with Joanna and Tara, the Intimacy Alchemist, where we openly face all the kinds of disconnection, tension, edge, trauma, and vulnerable edges that happen in real relationships that are calling for the transformation, so you can finally savor the sweet intimacy that makes everything in life amazing. Until next time, you're on the right path. You can learn how to navigate the disconnection with more ease and conscious mastery and have the love and intimacy you're meant to enjoy.